we are with Jeff Walker, the bass and vocalist of Carcass, and also the bass player from Brujeria. How you doing, man?
I'm good. And you?
Very good. Quite stoked to talk to you. We've been quite a fan of you since forever, and it's been like 6 years since you got together and been playing around the whole world. But at the time when people talk to you or ask you about a new album, you were like, nah, not really. We were not prepared. But how has changed your perspective since 2007 that you got back together, and now that you're writing an actual album after 17 years?
I guess it's down to the enthusiasm of Bill Steer. I mean, I don't know if you recall, but even around 2009, 2010, and maybe even in 2008, I was not the person saying I did not want to do an album. Even by then, I was starting to think maybe it could have been possible. Around 2010, we played our last shows with Mike Amott and Daniel Lelanton. Sometime in 2011, Bill called me and said he was interested in possibly writing some new material. So I think the main change of heart had come from Bill. Sure, when we got together, the intention never was to do an album, but we started to enjoy playing again and to enjoy playing Carcass. And I guess we don't want the party to stop. You know?
Yeah.
We started. I guess we felt in a creative mood again. When we reformed the band, it was exactly that, a reformation. But after you've been playing shows for 3 years, it's no longer a reformation. It's a living, breathing band again. So if there was to be a future, then we can't continue to be a nostalgia act. We have to look forward and see if we can deliver new material.
Nice. Now it's the album has been composed mostly between Bill and you, but who else? It's in recording. It's Daniel Wilding, the drummer, and who else?
It was just myself, Bill Steer, and Daniel Wilding. I mean, in all honesty, every Carcass album in the studio has been a three-piece, with the exception of when we've had other lead guitarists. They contribute riffs and then come in and record the leads or the guitar solos. But the main rhythms of every album has always been Bill, myself, and Ken Owen. So this album is not a drastic change, with the exception of we've got Daniel Wilding instead of Ken Owen on drums, which is necessary because Ken can no longer play.
Yeah, absolutely. We totally understand that. Just by seeing the titles of the track list that you guys unveiled a few weeks ago, the first impression is that it's gonna take a little bit through the direction of your first records without changing the melodic part of hard work. Is that how people perceive? And how do you think is the album gonna sound like?
Well, I mean, I know what it sounds like because it's recorded. It's just not mixed. Maybe what you have just said is a good assumption, you know? But at the same time, it's not a case of we've gone back and listened to the albums and we're trying to copy any particular style. It's just that those albums were made by ourselves and we are the band. So it is going to, we are going to take a nod to those albums, and stylistically it's going to be similar, I guess, in some ways, but people who've heard the new material do think it's, again, something new, going off in another direction. I would say this is our heavy metal album, you know?
Yeah, that's amazing, because Colin Richardson, it's again into production, right?
He was, and he quit yesterday.
So,
he was 2 weeks into meant to be mixing the album, and he decided that he doesn't want to continue. So Andy Sneap is taking over.
Yeah. So what's the next step? Because I think he was like a big part of the band's history, right?
Yeah, but I mean, he's produced the album. It's just that he's hit a brick wall with the mix and doesn't want to continue. So we're bringing in Andy Sneap to do the mix now.
That's amazing, man.
It's a shame, but you know, the album was finished recording. We finished recording it 3 months ago. So I guess, you know. As he put it, he's burnt. There's other reasons, but the main reason he says is he's burnt out. You know, I guess it'll be a positive thing to bring in some fresh ears. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so based on this, there is no certain date for the album release.
No, because we're still talking to record labels about who's going to release it. So there's still no rush. In all honesty, we thought this album would have been finished months ago, and we thought it would be finished in time for these concerts in South America, but that isn't the case. So.
Yeah, you guys playing soon?
I guess it's like a fine wine. You just got to let it mature, you know. I mean, we're not rushing, but then we're not deliberately. Well, me and Bill aren't deliberately taking things slow. It's just that these things are happening. So I think the older you get, the less time there is in life. So.
Yeah, I heard you. As you just mentioned, you still analyzing record labels, or do you think that like some bands have been just going for it and releasing independently and just direct to fans, kind of the approach? Would you guys do that?
Well, that's an option. That's the ace card that we hold with the record labels. We're not necessarily desperate to sign a record contract because we do have the means at our disposal to release an album. But as far as getting the album out to the widest audience as possible, then there's a couple of record labels that are very big and very powerful, and it would be in our interest to work with them to get the album out, you know, because as far as promotion and interviews and that kind of thing. Otherwise, yeah, we can release the album but ourselves, but it's not going to do it justice because it won't reach as widespread an audience. Because despite the means at people's disposal, as far as the internet and information, it's amazing how much ignorance some people live in. You know, still now I meet people who profess to be Carcass fans, and they weren't aware that we're recording. I mean, it seems as much information you put out on the internet, people just don't read it.
Now, you as you said, you guys probably are going to head soon to South America. So who's going to be the guitar in terms of replacing Mike Ament?
It's not a disrespect to the guy, but it's a no name. It's no one famous. So you know, we're not a soccer team that needs to replace star players. You know, it's a band. So we've got a good guitarist in that we're rehearsing with at the moment. He's an English guy. His name's Ben and Ash. So you know, it's nice to have some young, fresh blood in the band. I mean, me and Bill are old now, so it's good to get the average age of the band down by getting 2 younger kids in. So.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I don't know if you guys have seen or heard lately Sepultura, and this new drummer, he's just amazing.
Oh yeah, I've heard people raving about the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about.
I mean, to be honest, there was a point where we were offered a show, and we talked to Jesper from. This is going back a couple of years now. We spoke to Jesper from In Flames about him playing some shows, and he agreed. But then he dropped out, and then we were talking to Gary Hall from Exodus, and but then he got the Slayer gig. So looking back, I'm not sure those choices would have been that great anyway. But we were open to the idea of, you know, bringing in a name player, if you like. But with the actual recording of this album, we didn't need another guitarist. So And what we do need is someone to play live. So, and at the end of the day, Ben is going to be playing another guy's parts. So, if you've got an established artist with their own identity and agenda, they're not necessarily going to want to come into another band and play someone else's guitar parts, you know. So this way it's better, I think, you know.
True. Talking about live, you just finished a gig with Brujeria, and Shane Embury, he revealed via Twitter that you probably are gonna be recording the very expected new album in Mexico. Do you have any plans in playing with Brujeria and with the new album and stuff?
The album musically is recorded. The only thing that's missing is the vocals. Most of the album has been finished for a year now. The drums were tracked in Monterrey, Mexico. I think the guitars and bass were finished around January of last year. So the only thing that it's waiting on is for Juan Brujo to do his bits, you know. So, in all honesty, I made a joke that there will be a Carcass album before a new Brujeria album, and that was years ago. And it's come true. So we have a saying in English: "Don't hold your breath."
Yeah. Now, has your Spanish improved since you've been so long with Brujeria?
No. I know a few bad words. That's about it.
Okay, that's what really matters, that you understand the bad words. Now, just before we finish this amazing interview, we noticed that you did a really dope guest appearance in Dia de los Muertos album Satánico Dramático. Now, are you expecting to do another guest appearance on there, or has your relationship with that amazing Latino band?
Well, Alfonso is a very good friend of mine, so he just asked me to contribute some vocals and just give some help in shaping that song. So that's what I did, you know. So yeah, I mean, that's really my only involvement. He asked me to do some guest vocals, and I threw in some ideas as far as the way, you know, the way that song was structured, and that was it, really. You know, it's my involvement. Yeah, Alfonso's a good friend. They're the past good friends, isn't it?
Now, are you as Jeff Walker doing any side projects, collaboration, or anything that you would like to share with us?
Yeah. Brujeria is a side project, and Carcass is my main girlfriend, you know. Other than those two bands, no, I'm not involved with anything.
Okay, that's awesome. So thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoy your gigs in South America, as most of the people are like extreme fans of Carcass and both Brujeria. So it's gonna be a double win for us to see you over there.
Excellent. All right. Muchas gracias, and thanks for your time. Hi, this is Jeff Walker from Carcass, and you're listening to Sanctuary of Rock.
El Santuario del Rock.com. Noticias, entrevistas exclusivas, videos, reseñas de conciertos y festivales a nivel mundial, crónicas de bandas nacionales e internacionales. Todo esto podrán encontrarlo en santuariodelrock.com.